Joining us now from Chicago, Illinois' senior and for the moment only senator, who is also the number 2 Democrat in the Senate, the Majority Whip, Dick Durbin. Senator, let's just start. First, it looked like that the Senate was going to oppose the seating of Roland Burris, this person who has been appointed by the governor out there to fill Barack Obama's old Senate seat. Then last week it appeared that you might go ahead and let this go, that it was going to be more trouble in time than it was worth, and that he would be seated. Then the governor held a news conference on Friday, and you said the Senate was not going to seat him and deal with this immediately. What is the latest news?
Well, you referred to this as a comic opera before, and I will tell you, if you don't pay close attention, the plot changes. And late Friday, the Secretary of State of Illinois, who had withheld his signature from a key document that the Senate has required for 125 years, sent a new document to the Senate. It's now being evaluated by legal counsel. The bottom line is this, Bob. After the allegations and wiretaps of Rod Blagojevich, now our impeached governor in Illinois, the majority, certainly all of the Democratic senators, said, we don't want anything to do with Rod Blagojevich's choices. And then came his nomination of Roland Burris, and many members stepped back and said, well, let's be fair to this man. He has been elected 4 times statewide in Illinois. Let's make sure we're fair to him as well. And so we're trying at the end of the day to comply with Senate rules and make sure that any appointment coming from Blagojevich has gone through the appropriate screening and scrutiny.
Well, has it? I mean, are you going to deal with this? Because apparently he's going to head here tomorrow. Are you going to allow him to be seated, or are you going to delay dealing with this until you find out whether or not Blagojevich has actually been removed from office?
Well, you know, I can say this. I talked to Roland yesterday. He's been my friend for a long time. We've been on the Illinois political scene together. We have to look at the new documents that have been filed by the Secretary of State. They are different than those filed earlier, and see if they comply with Senate rules. Then we're going to have to take a look at his testimony before the impeachment committee. It could take some period of time, but I want to do this in a fair and quick way so that Roland knows his fate, and I hope I can have another colleague in the Senate.
Well, but what you're saying is you're not going to deal with this tomorrow. It sounds like, well, from what you're saying here.
I can't say for certain the timing on this, but when I talked to Senator Reid, we have a number of things scheduled this week, and of course the Senate calendar is not easy to invade. We want to do this in the right way. When it's all done, no questions asked, that if it is Roland Burris, we've done it in a proper way, and that's what I told him yesterday.
Well, but what you seem to be saying is that you're playing for time here, Senator, that you're going to wait and see if in fact Blagojevich is actually removed. We're told that that could come within the next 2 weeks. So you're not going to deal with it immediately.
No, I can say just point blank, that is not the strategy. First, review the documents sent to us by the state of Illinois. Then look at the testimony given and move in a fair way. To wait until Governor Blagojevich is removed could be a matter of weeks. I think Roland Burris's future and fate will be decided before then.
You think it will be decided before then. But what do you believe at this point that the Senate has the right to block him?
Of course it does. Under the Constitution and the rules of the Senate, we judge not only the qualifications of a person who comes to this Senate by appointment or election, but also whether the election or appointment process was appropriate. The Senate has that power to stand in judgment of its members. It's constitutional.
Does it at this point have the political will to do that? Do you think that someone appointed by Governor Blagojevich should be seated in the United States Senate?
Well, I can tell you, I started off obviously skeptical, as all of the Democratic members did. But as time has gone on and we've looked closely, we want to be fair to Roland Burris. If he has the proper certification and papers, then we're going to take one look at the process and move forward from there. But I won't presume what the Senate is going to finally decide. I will just tell you we'll do it fairly and we'll do it on a timely basis.
But you're saying at this point you don't know if he has the proper papers in certification?
I can tell you the papers he submitted are different than those that have been submitted by virtually every senator appointed and elected in more than a century, but the question is whether they are adequate, whether or not they comply with the Senate rules, and that's being decided even as we speak.
Let's talk about a couple of other things while you're here, Senator. Senator Obama, of course, is proposing a stimulus package of nearly $800 billion. Already we're hearing Democrats say that that is not enough. Democrats don't like some of the things in it. Republicans like the tax cuts. Some of them Democrats don't. Is this going to be enough? Can this thing at this point pass the Senate, do you think?
Well, let's put it in perspective. This is the worst economic situation I've seen in my lifetime. It's the worst economic crisis a new president will face in 75 years. Just looking at recent numbers released by our government, on average, we lost 17,000 American jobs yesterday, 11,000 people lost their health insurance, and 9,000 had their homes foreclosed. That's the average every single day in America, and that's the crisis that Barack Obama will inherit on January 20th. We need to move decisively. But as John Wooden, the old coach at UCLA, used to say, be quick, but don't hurry. Make certain that this is timely, that it is focused on solving the problem, that it's an investment in America's future, but do it in a way so that you're responsible and transparent.
Let me ask you, Speaker Pelosi over in the House says one thing that she absolutely is going to insist on is that taxes on the wealthy be increased, that their taxes are not going to be cut, and she wants to do that by repealing the tax cuts that President Bush enacted. Is that also the sentiment in the Senate? Do they want those particular tax cuts repealed?
I haven't heard that in the Senate. I certainly agree with her goal. We may have a difference in timing. The Obama administration believes that increasing taxes on any Americans at this point may not be the right medicine. But keep in mind, Bob, this is a different process than we've seen for 8 years. Barack Obama and his people have opened this up to the Senate and to the House, Democrats and Republicans, and said, bring us your ideas. Let's sit down and try to put this package together. That's a much different approach than we've had over the last 8 years. It's going to take some time, but we have to do it in a timely way. Well, I hope by the recess in the middle of February.
Do you think there might be something where some repealing those tax cuts might actually be delayed for a time?
Well, at this point, many of us who believe they should be changed so that the tax code favors working families and those who have been struggling so much. But the question is a matter of timing. And I can't say for certain what the Senate and the House will come up with in the end.
All right. Well, thank you very much, Senator.
Thanks, Bob.
And we turn now to Roland Burris, who is the center of all this attention now. And the first part of the interview we just heard with Senator Durbin. Mr. Burris, thank you for joining us this morning. You heard what Senator Durbin said, and if I can kind of diagram the sentences here, because I'm not sure I know what he said, he seemed to be saying that the Senate is not going to act immediately on your appointment and is not going to immediately move to seat you. So what are you going to do?
Well, Bob, my appointment has been certainly stated by the Illinois Supreme Court is legal, and by all constitutional authority, the U.S. Constitution, the state of Illinois Constitution, the laws of the state of Illinois, the appointment was legal. All the documents have now been submitted. There is a seal from the Secretary of State with the Secretary of State's signature on it. It is our position that those documents are now in compliance with the Senate rules, and therefore, after the lawyers have reviewed this, my attorneys will be in Washington on Monday to confirm with the parliamentarian and the attorneys to confirm that all of this is in order. Remember that when my excellent meeting with Senators Reed and Durbin, they requested two things of me. Number one, that I appear before the impeachment committee of the governor in the Illinois House of Representatives, and secondly, that I would produce the proper documents from the Secretary of State.
So are you coming here tomorrow then to try to get seated in the Senate?
Well, we will determine that when the meeting is held with my attorney, who will be there tomorrow, and the attorneys from the Senate. And it is our position that we have done everything that's required and that yes, I should be seated, and I should be seated forthwith, and I should be seated prior to the inauguration of our 44th president, a seat for which I now hold. And by the way, I am the junior senator from the state of Illinois. There is no question on my legality of appointment. Illinois has 2 senators.
Yes.
That is the law. We have 2 senators.
Do you intend to go into court if the Senate does not enact on this immediately? Because there are reports that your lawyers have said that's where they're going, to federal court.
Well, certainly my lawyers will drive that situation. I will more than likely make the final decision, but I do not want to be creating any type of scene. I do not want to have some long, drawn-out legal process that's going to hamper the important work of this body. We have bigger and better things to do. I'm ready, willing, and able to go to work on this stimulus package. We have to do something about the families in our state and our nation that are suffering, and we as public servants must get about that business and put all of this other activity aside and let us have that 58th vote in the Democratic side of the Senate. And when my colleague Franken comes from Minnesota, we would have the 59th vote so we can get some business done. Let
me just ask you this, and with all due respect to your qualifications, whatever they may be, after seeing this bizarre news conference that the governor out in Illinois had on Friday when he recited poetry and put a group of handicapped people on the stage in an effort to argue that the legislature there was trying to block him from helping those people. After federal prosecutors have accused him of trying to sell that seat to the highest bidder, how can you accept such an appointment from such a person and expect people to take you seriously or not question your character, as it were?
Very easily, and I hope that no one ever questioned my character. And as you know, Bob, even though, by the way, the governor certainly has been impeached and the legislature took their constitutional duties and responsibilities. But remember this, and I'm not a person who does bad can also do good. And what Governor Blagojevich did was good for the people of Illinois and good for the people of the country when he exercised his constitutional duties to appoint a person to the vacancy of President-elect Obama. Well, and appointing me to that vacancy certainly is good for the people of Illinois. I have nothing to do with all of his problems. Those are his problems. And with my experience, my knowledge of Illinois, and my commitment to be a public servant in my state, I know that I could take on that mantle and do the work for the people.
Well, don't you feel you're being used by someone who's just trying to save his political skin?
Whatever means necessary, whatever, I have nothing to do with the governor's motives. What we needed was something to be done for the people of Illinois. That was his constitutional duty. That was his responsibility. The Illinois Constitution does not say the governor may or the governor might or the governor should. Bob, it says the governor shall appoint a person to fill the vacancy. And that's what happened.
Will you or will you not be coming to Washington tomorrow?
Well, that decision has not been made. My lawyers will be there, and I will be there, certainly in a day or two, to pursue taking my seat. Absolutely. I am the junior senator from the state of Illinois. Thank you so much.
All right. Thank you for being with us.